Okay, it's day 52, and I am going through my videos from last year. This is almost a year ago now, day 54, where the series starts. And I've been trying to go through and say, okay, let's make corrections just to make sure we correct the record, whatever isn't true from a year ago. And I went through this all 15 minutes and 42 seconds, and there's not a change. One change I would make, the only thing I would do is double down on the emphasis that I said Hillary's connection with Andrew McCabe. I said it was a 20-year relationship. Now we know that's true. Now we know with the Chappaquiddick House and so forth, and the 20 years of attacking political enemies and then just general deplorables. But I'll play a little bit of it and just give you a flavor.
Okay, day 54, still no Eric Braverman, no Neil Brown or Mark Turi either. Yesterday I kind of went through the base case, so that yesterday 53 would be a good one to start if you haven't seen the series before. But today I'll focus a little bit more on not so much the stingers and selling the oil rights, but I'll focus on this 256 billion that Gaddafi had in these Swiss accounts, and I'll focus on why Hillary really...
Now what I didn't, so I bring out OFAC, I didn't bring out CFIUS, but I was right on top of the whole issue with Uranium One and so forth, and CFIUS and Jack Lew and the Treasury Department, etc. And that really took a whole year to develop. I'll move ahead a little bit in the just to do random cuts here. As far as Comey being a part of the conspiracy, Podesta, Kadzik, all together in one big conspiracy, all modus operandi of Mark Rich, I wouldn't change a word. So that, here McCabe's on the second slide, and I talk a lot about McCabe on the second slide, being kind of the go-to.
People remember that Hillary was in the New York Senate from 2001 to 2009, so there's 8 years on the Senate Armed Services Committee. And
here the whole HSBC, money laundering, how all the money for all these topples went into HSBC. Again, the only thing since going to the FBI, to the trial for the Benghazi, did I learn about how much FBI was there. Not just CIA with Petraeus, but also FBI presence. It was kind of a collusion, and that goes back to what I'd said earlier about PDD 62, Presidential Decision Directive 62.
Squeeze here between Tunisia and Egypt. Why this and this had to happen first.
Other piece to this is
Nigeria, and you need to come up with the Greek pipeline.
Is talking about how the Clinton Foundation sheltered Braverman. I still think this is true. Did all this pay-to-play stuff over here and then passed it through the eye of a camel here over to Braverman and said, hey, by the way, why don't you sign the financial statements? And, of course, Braverman left. And that is still going to be the key reason why he had the supporter and informant, who was Justin Cooper, with the New York field FBI. So I'm sticking to that. But all this stuff here about the number of emails and the number that answered to Benghazi and the fact that Shiguri was involved in negotiating the Turkey coup and all that either has yet to drop or has dropped in the last year. Even Mark Turi, being part of Fast and Furious, which is more of a gun caching program in the United States when it's going to be all said and done, is still in play. And then there's Seymour Hersh again with red line to rat line.
Fine. But Morell takes over the CIA and says, I'm gonna topple this Assad. I'm gonna use the poison gas here. Small attack in Aleppo doesn't work. I'm gonna use the poison gas again in a huge attack that kills 1,300 people near Damascus. That still doesn't work. You got journalists like this, that basically are saying ISIS is using people as human shields.
And again here, Seymour Hersh just has a piece of the story. And I have to say, I had a bigger, more expansive, bigger understanding, a Peter Dale Scott type understanding of how this whole thing fit into the Hillary McCabe conspiracy with Comey and Petraeus than he did, than Seymour Hersh. Seymour Hersh had a little bit of tunnel vision here, I have to say. Looking back at it almost a year now, the story, in his words, was too big for him. Indeed it was. The story was literally too big for him. And then I'll go to the gas attacks.
Turkish intelligence saying the same thing. There's a rat line running from Raqqa to Aleppo with oil. It actually runs all the way down to El Qaim.
And what I really was happy about on that last slide was giving credit to Serena Shim. And then here we go.
So, last slide. What do we need to do? Well, there's a whole bunch of State Department Gmails that need to be immediately published. Obviously, they are not state secrets because they are not state.gov emails. And not only is it a violation of the Federal Records Act, but now we're adding obstruction on top of destruction of evidence. And again, bribe, more, all along the way. This isn't just a new phenomenon of asking for no prosecution to get more agents. This counterterrorism trading for more agents to quid pro quo has been going on for 20 years.
And there I said it, 20 years. And you go back to the records now, and with the Chappaqua house with McCabe up there and establishing kind of the spy house, that's the only difference. That's the only thing is that everything has remained true. It's just been one or two levels down in terms of detail. So I'm extremely pleased with this, and I just wouldn't want to touch any of these because I will still go through every day and look at all the previous things. But what happened here is I waited about 300 days, and there was no action with the FOIAs on any of this. If you remember correctly, all these emails, the 650,000 emails and all these Gmail accounts were being sued for Judicial Watch, and then they finally just went away after 4 years, and the statute of limitations ran out. So that's why the only change here is I decided to get involved in the legal action and put people on on notice and say, hey, respond in 21 days. Today I'm going to be filing 4 new motions. That's the only thing that's changed here is I lost faith in Judicial Watch about 300 days into this, or maybe 350 days into this. And I'm filing on Imran today for production of public records, and I'm filing on Glenn Simpson today. So that's what's changed. I'll see everybody at the courthouse, but I wouldn't change a word in this. I would have only doubled down more on Andrew McCabe.